when petite sœur will just have to remember.
The 15th annual Franco-Irish Literary Festival was held in Dublin recently from the 4th to the 6th of April. Amongst the lineup of French and Irish literary heavyweights at this year's festival were Argentine-born novelist and translator Laura Alcoba, a Stala member and well-known writer, poet and political commentator Theo Dorgan, highly successful French novelist and doctor Laurent Sexic, and a living national treasure, poet John Montague.
Est-ce que tu m'aimeras encore dans cette petite mort? Attention, plus personne.
Très belle journée, quel bon moment que nous a offert.
Through lever gazing, or are these events of significant importance?
Well, I love them. I come every year to this, and I find it opens my mind. The sensibilities of Irish writers and French writers are very different, as are their ways of expressing themselves, their ways of communicating. So it's not always, an utterly smooth thing when writers from both sides say it here on a platform, because we're different.
Okay.
But we're kind of fond of each other at the same time, so that somehow gets over the difference. But for me, what it does is it exposes me to a French literary world which I'm normally not exposed to. It exposes me to a way of thinking that is, beyond the quotidian, and I find that just fascinating. I hear about writers I wouldn't otherwise have heard about. I may or may not go on to buy their books, but my world has been expanded. For instance, this morning there was a wonderful woman there, an art critic, who had written about l'art de la défaite, the art of defeat.
Okay.
And it was about artists of various genres, but specifically painters, which she created an exhibition between 1944 and 1948 in France. Now that to me was something, I knew very little about these artists, I didn't know, and I found it gripping. So if I hadn't been here this morning, and then I love hearing the Irish writers having to engage with this huge wide world of an experience which is, much wider and more, I suppose, certainly more European and more global than our parochial world.
Can you tell me a little bit about why you're here and what it means to you? Why is this important? Why should we bother having such a thing?
It's a wonderful way of interchanging the dual cultures of two different countries, and not only that, because we have an extra culture of the Irish language, we have a chance of letting the world know, and letting the French who live in Ireland know that we actually have our own language culture, as distinct from pure English language culture, as depicted by people like Shakespeare and the other writers in the English literary tradition.
Very good. And do you think that is there enough of this sort of thing going on? We all know that we live in an EU which has got a strong focus on the economic, but is there enough of this kind of thing going on, do you think?
Well, one of the points was made yesterday was that unfortunately the so-called languages that were used by the people who colonised different countries, such as the French and the British, their language, their culture was seen as being one and only. Whereas the smaller languages, such as Irish, Breton, and other languages, are all seen as ways and means of having a more open culture. They have a deeper culture than the others. But it's this chance of exchanging, coming together, meeting other people, and allowing the people who are involved in literature to discuss literature before all of us so-called ordinary people. I just have a basic BA degree in English and in Irish and in French, and therefore it's a great boon to me to be able to learn a bit more, even at this stage of my life.
Very good.